to Canyon City's regular city council. I would like to welcome everybody that's here tonight and also ask for a roll call, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi. Councilmember Dennehy,
Here.
Councilmember Schmischer,
Here.
Councilmember B. Smith, Councilmember Stein,
Here.
Councilmember Tracy,
Here.
Councilmember Worthington,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick,
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here. Well, now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any council member announcements? Councilmember Tracy.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just a reminder that tomorrow is the regular monthly meeting of the Community Advisory Group for the Lincoln Park Cotter Superfund site. And among other things on the agenda, we've sent a list of questions to the regulators in regard to a spill of contaminated water that occurred in late June north of the Soil Conservation Service dam. And the report that was done by the contractor on site to some of us on the Community Advisory Group seemed to be a little skimpy. So we sent a list of questions. So those meetings, of course, are open to the public. It's both online, Zoom and Facebook Live, and in person at the Pueblo Community College Fremont campus, 3 to 5. Thanks.
Thank you. I will now move on to the consent agenda. Administrators, oh, sorry, Councilmember Schmischer, I just saw that your hand's up, please.
No worries. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to make sure it was on everybody's radar screen that weekend is the 14th annual Royal Gorge Whitewater Festival down at Centennial Park. It should be a lot of fun with both land-based and water-based events. So just encourage everybody to come down for a great weekend. Thanks.
Thank you for that reminder. That is a fun weekend. Councilmember Stein. Oh, your name popped up. Oh. Well, you could randomly be called at any moment. Things are happening. Your inner self really needs this. Okay, well then let's go ahead and move on to the consent agenda, please.
All right.
Administrator Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Item 6A is to approve the minutes for the regular city council meeting on June 19th, the vision meeting on June 21st, and special meetings on June 12th, which was Regional Infrastructure Summit, June 21st, which was the tour of the police department's NRAP, June 25th was CML, and June 28th, the Water Committee. 6B is to authorize the mayor to sign an intergovernmental agreement with Fremont County Clerk and Recorder for a coordinated election on November 7th of 2023. 6C awards bid 5323 water main purchase to Core and Main in an amount not to exceed $19,200. 6D awards bid 5523 MDTs to Tel Ripco in an amount not to exceed $109,732. 6E, receive and file the monthly budget summary for May. 6F is to ratify and receive and file cash disbursements from June 20th to July 7th. And 6G is to receive and file cash disbursements from July 8th to July 17th. And additionally, we would ask that Ordinance 7 be stricken from the agenda for today.
Okay, so we would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda, consent agenda, with striking 8.2. Is that right?
8A2.
8A2.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda and strike 8A2.
Thank you.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion or additional questions for Ryan on the consent agenda? Councilmember Schmischer.
Thanks so much, Madam Mayor. I just like to thank the city administrator for striking 8A2 and just flagging that it is about backyard roosters and potentially eliminating them from permissibility even up until the age of 6 months. And just ask the city administrator to please reach out to entities that would have an interest in this topic, such as 4-H, before it comes to a general government meeting. Thanks.
And we can do that.
Right, or even a language of, as soon as you can identify that a rooster is a rooster, then it is no longer allowed in city limits, yeah.
Exactly, once it starts crowing,
Yeah.
perhaps.
All right, anything else? Okay, there's been a motion and a second. I'll call a vote, please.
Councilmember Stein,
Aye.
Councilmember Tracy,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennehy,
Aye.
Councilmember Schmischer,
Aye.
Councilmember Worthington,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. How about an administrator's report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of council, you have a written report in your packet. In addition to the written reports, we are working on revitalizing Main Street grants for creative crosswalks. We plan on launching that tomorrow for art submissions. So that will be open until about August 11th. We will be rolling that out to the community, looking for ideas for creating creative crosswalks in the downtown area. Also want to mention that we have a special city council meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. It's a joint meeting with the rec district, and we'll be having discussions about how the city can participate in the issues surrounding the pool, and it's a great opportunity for the two boards to get together and talk about the issues and potential solutions, and that is open to the public, and we'll be doing that here at City Hall in the council chambers.
Thank you. Any questions for Ryan? Ryan, I do have a question on the written report about how staff has started to coordinate with CSOs regarding the removal of illegal signs posted within city-owned rights-of-way. I was wondering how that's going and what the feedback is. I did get a complaint from a business owner about their feather flag not being in compliance and wanting to have a further conversation. So I wanted to see what your feedback has been and also do a little exploration on what a lot of communities do with feather flags and our motivation behind that.
Yeah, well, we could do some additional research. We did some initial research back when we adopted the Unified Development Code. I don't believe feather flags have ever technically been allowed in the central business district.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it has to do with them being in the right-of-way, being tripping hazards and things like that within the right-of-way. But we can do some additional research on that stand front. We have had some additional complaints and concerns and questions regarding that enforcement as well. And we have Jolene Inman, our CSO supervisor here. I don't know if, Jolene, if there's anything you want to add to that? Or Patrick, I know you've been dealing with those as well.
I've been sort of the point person on the feather flag signs along Main Street. We also have another category of signs within rights-of-way. These are sort of yard-like signs that are placed at intersections or taped to utility poles that are within right-of-way. And I have asked the CSOs, since they're out there every day, when they see those, to remove them. And then if there's a number on the sign, we can call them and let them know that we have those signs. As far as the feather flag signs, yes, there are some merchants along Main Street who are not happy about this. But when I pointed out that these signs have technically been illegal for many years, and with the pandemic being over, a priority from the city has now become enforcement of these regulations once again. A number of the merchants that I contacted last week have complied with this. There are some new ones that have gone up, so I'll be making another round of contact with merchants along Main Street to let them understand why the regulation is as it is.
Okay, yeah, I think it's a little bit unfortunate on our part that we let it go for so long, because they have sprouted up so much that they probably thought it was allowable.
They've had custom.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of them, I've got the phone calls too. A lot of them have had their custom ones done and they've been allowed to put them up and, you know, that's a, you know, to get a custom one done, they're not cheap. And, you know, that's a tough one because they've been allowed to, and then, you know, some of them even ordered new custom ones this year for the summer. And maybe that's something just down the road we can, you know, just take a peek at and maybe set a time period. I'm not saying allow them, not allow them, but maybe we just take a look at that because it's, you know, when I go to other towns and that, and I go down to their downtown areas, especially if they're specific business ones, they're allowed. But, you know, I'm not saying either way, but let's at least down the road take a peek at this.
well, yeah, I was curious about it, so I was looking up other communities and their feather flag regulations, and it's really, really hard to find much, but what I have found is mostly, for some, it's only allowed for, maybe it's not a permanent sign, it's not something you put up every day, it'd be like if there's a special event or a special sale and it's only during a short period of time.
Right.
So that might be a compromise.
That is how our code treats feather flag signs in
So
districts where it
ours
is
is the
allowed. They are
same?
temporary in nature.
But is it well defined what that temporary nature
Yes,
is?
you can have 3 periods per calendar year, and each period is 30 days in duration.
Are the merchants allowed, are they made aware of that?
We are reaching, that will be our next stage of enforcement, to go to the merchants in districts where feather flag signs are allowed and make sure they understand the temporary nature of these signs.
Okay, well, that's, at least there's some opportunities for them to still use their flags.
Right.
Yeah. And we do have Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick and then Councilmember Tracy next on the queue.
Are you going to be talking to feather flags, Councilperson Tracy? Why don't you go ahead then?
Yeah, I just thought it would be helpful for me and maybe for the public too, to just say a little bit more. And you were already saying a little bit, Patrick, about where they are and aren't allowed. And so you address the temporary nature that's addressed in the code. So districts that do allow them and don't allow them within the city.
So there is a video that we have had not only available on our website, but it's been pushed through social media, and I believe it's also been running on rotation on the city's local access channel that begins to talk about this, but it's only about a 5-minute video, so it doesn't go really in depth. Feather flag signs, A-frame signs, signs such as this are considered temporary in nature. Some of these temporary signs require the issuance of a permit, some do not. A-frame signs, for instance, in the zone districts where they're legal, do not require any kind of a permit to be issued. The only stipulation is at the end of the business day, they need to be brought back inside. A-frame signs are perfectly legal as an alternate to doing feather flag signs in the central business district downtown. Feather flag signs, because of their height, and the fact that they have to have some sort of an apparatus to support them, I don't believe they've ever been legal in the central business district downtown, because the way that area is sort of programmed, from the front of the building on this side of the street to the front of the building on this side of the street is all publicly owned right-of-way. So if you are going to put some sort of an apparatus out there to support a feather flag sign, you're doing it at the expense of impeding pedestrian traffic along the sidewalks. That's why we've never made them legal.
And so then there are districts where they are legal?
Yes.
Outside of the
General
central
commercial, I believe neighborhood commercial also allows them. So if you pull a permit, and the idea is we need to come up with a tracking system for when a property owner, a business comes in and pulls one of these permits, they get 3 per calendar year, and each one can have a duration of 30 days, so that's a total of 90 days per calendar year that they can display them.
And our new community development software should be able to help us with that.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this is mid-July, and first week of November, we are going to be having an election. And so I thought it might be appropriate if someone could kind of remind us on what the rules are for election signs.
Certainly. So the city's regulations are content neutral with respect to what's on a sign. In residential areas, you can have what we call the yard sign, which is your typical measurement for a sign. And if someone wants to have, you can have 2 of those year-round on any subject you want. You don't need to come in and get a permit for them, that's fine. With respect to the period before and after an election, in residential areas, you are allowed to have 2 additional yard signs, 60 days before an election and up to 15 days after an election. And after that, those 2 additional signs would have to go away. But year-round, you can have, if you want to advertise for a particular presidential candidate, 2 years before the election, you can certainly do that.
And in public right-of-ways, like alongside roads and things like that?
As long as it's outside of right-of-way, right? Signs posted in right-of-way are illegal all over the city. If it's on private property, that's a different matter.
Thank you.
Okay, I do see that we have members of our police department here. Are you here to enlighten us a little bit more about the MDTs that's on the consent agenda? And would you like to let us know about it? No?
They're here in support.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, we have had a motion and a second. We've had lots of discussion. Yeah, I did.
Oh, it's the administrator report.
Oh, the administrative report.
I was like, wait.
Let's go, move on this. Okay. Are you guys ready to move on? I was.
Good morning.
All right, well, let's do that. Let's get to backyard ducks then. And that's item AA, amending Chapter 5 of Title 17. I, introduction and first reading by title only of Ordinance 6, Series of 2023, entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Canyon City Municipal Code Concerning Backyard Ducks.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This evening, we are here to consider an ordinance that would amend Chapter 5 of Title 17 concerning the keeping of backyard animals as an accessory use. Since you have removed backyard roosters as one of the items that was going to be part of this discussion, I have scrubbed that from this presentation. That's why there was a line through it there. All other references to that ordinance have been removed from this presentation. As currently written, Section 1705-140 allows for the keeping of backyard chickens as an accessory use in the following zone districts: RL, Rural Living Residential; R1, Low Density Residential; R1A, Low Density Small Lot Residential; and R2, Medium Density Residential. And these regulations require a shelter structure, as well as specifications for how far the shelter structure must be placed, not only from property lines, but also from nearby residential dwellings. Also, as currently written in the UDC, ducks are currently categorized as a type of livestock under the regulations for agricultural type uses. This means they can be allowed on lots of more than 1 acre on properties that are zoned either RL or R1. They are not currently allowed in any other zone district. This has resulted in some code enforcement contact with residents in other zone districts who have been found to be keeping ducks on their property. Given that the city's code enforcement, also called community services staff, has been enforcing the prohibition on ducks on properties not zoned RL or R1, a Canyon City resident recently appeared to approach council about the current regulations pertaining to ducks and to request that these regulations be modified to treat ducks similar to the way that it treats chickens. Council considered this request at its May 3rd, 2023 General Government Committee meeting. Following deliberations on this issue, which noted the community's strong participation in 4-H competitions involving ducks, consensus was reached that the current regulations should be changed. Ducks should be removed from the category of livestock and given equal status with backyard chickens in all zone districts where chickens are currently permitted. Thus, the draft ordinance being presented this evening is intended to address that disparity between ducks and chickens. The ordinance is entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Canyon City Amending Chapter 5 of Title 17 of the Canyon City Municipal Code concerning backyard ducks. The effect of this draft will be to remove ducks from the category of livestock. It then amends Section 1705-140 to allow ducks as backyard animals consistent with the keeping of backyard chickens in all zone districts where this is currently permitted. This change would allow for any combination of 8 chickens or ducks and would keep in place the same shelter structure requirements as currently pertain to chickens. Now, public notice requirements concerning public hearings before Planning Commission and Council were met via a publication of this on the city's website at least 15 days prior to the Planning Commission's hearing last month. As of this date, July 17th, we have received no questions, comments, or concerns, either in written form or emails or phone calls regarding this issue. So with that, staff and the Planning Commission recommend Council approve the adoption of Ordinance 6, Series of 2023, allowing for the keeping of backyard ducks as an accessory use. That would conclude the staff presentation. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions that Council may have. Also present to speak on this issue from an enforcement perspective would be Jolene Inman, who is our CSO manager.
Jolene, do you have anything you'd like to add to the presentation?
No, I mean, we didn't really enforce a whole lot on the dogs. It was usually complaint-based for the noise. But we haven't had any of those reports since this has come to you guys. So we haven't had any more complaints in a while.
Okay. Any questions from council? I had a question because ducks, from what I saw, require to have, ability for a water bath. And I didn't notice anything in this requiring that there's an availability for water bath, and didn't know if that would be a prudent or necessary thing.
So this was a question that was raised at Planning Commission. Yes, ducks are considered waterfowl. That isn't always going to be a practical solution to provide on properties that are, say, maybe quarter of an acre or less. On a 7,000 square foot lot, including a water feature that's suitable for ducks is going to be kind of a difficult thing to do. So the ordinance assumes that if you are going to be the owner of ducks, you're probably going to take measures to ensure that you've at least put something in place for the ducks' comfort, and that you have done something to ensure they don't fly away.
Okay. Anything else from the council? Okay, well, we can take a motion. Councilmember Worthington.
Okay. Council, I move that we approve ordinance number 6, series of 2023 by title on first reading.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call a vote.
Councilmember Worthington,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Dennehy,
Aye.
Councilmember Schmisher,
Aye.
Councilmember Stein,
Aye.
Councilmember Tracy.
Aye.
All right, it has passed on first reading. I'm just looking at my notes. This was a public hearing, and technically I should have opened it up as a public hearing and asked for public comment. Now that I've mentioned that, are we okay? There is no public here to give public comment.
Is there no public online at all either? Yeah, so I would just repeat for the record that there's no public here to provide comment and no public online, I'm
Okay,
assuming.
so there's no public online, there's no public in the audience for the public hearing. I'll be sure to announce the public hearing on the second reading. There will be another opportunity in 2 weeks to address this. It is time to move on to item 9A. This is a second reading for Ordinance 5, Series of 2023. This is concerning extraterritorial water service.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a second reading. I'm not aware of any additional public comment that we've received. And I see our water superintendent shaking his head no, so staff would recommend passing on second reading.
Any questions for Travis?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass Ordinance 5, Series of 2023 on second reading.
A second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Councilmember Worthington?
Aye.
Councilmember Schmisher?
Aye.
Councilmember Stein?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracy?
Aye.
Council Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Okay, passes on second reading. We're really excited. This meeting is adjourned. Go enjoy your summer evening.